There are moments in life that break a man, and moments that build him back again. For Ethan Walker, a tired single father doing his best to raise his son while juggling two jobs, everything changed the morning he unzipped his son's backpack and discovered a tiny blue baby shoe, muddy, worn out, soft fabric, a faded little star stitched on the side, a baby shoe, inside his 14-year-old son's school bag. His heart stopped. His mind raced to every nightmare a parent could imagine. Why would a teenage boy be carrying a baby shoe? What was he hiding, and who did it belong to? Before we continue, a quick reminder. If stories like this speak to your heart, make sure to subscribe to The Day Everything Changed. Now, let's begin. Ethan wasn't a bad father, but most days he felt like one. He worked nights unloading trucks at a warehouse and mornings serving coffee at a diner. He barely slept. Bills rose faster than his paycheck. Every week brought some new expense or broken appliance, and every day felt like a race he was losing. But nothing worried him more than the quiet distance growing between him and his son. Liam had once been a bright, talkative kid who shared everything. Lately, he'd become withdrawn, distracted, tired. His grades slipped. He picked at his dinner. He came home late and brushed off every question. Ethan told himself he would sit him down and talk when things calmed down, when rent wasn't late, when he wasn't so exhausted he could barely think. But life didn't calm down. And one night, hearing Liam quietly crying behind his closed bedroom door, Ethan's chest tightened. His son used to cry in his arms. Now he cried alone. The next morning, Liam rushed out the door and forgot his backpack. When Ethan picked it up, he felt something inside, small, firm, and oddly heavy. His stomach tightened. He unzipped the bag, and the tiny shoe stared back at him like a ghost from another life. He placed it on the table and waited. When Liam came home and saw it, his face went pale. The boy froze, then took a shaky breath, as if deciding whether to run or speak. Ethan gently asked why he had a baby shoe, but Liam looked away, tears filling his eyes. "You wouldn't understand," he whispered. "Try me," Ethan said softly. "You'll think it's stupid. I just need to know you're okay." But Liam didn't say another word. That night, Ethan barely slept. Worry is loud in a parent's mind, and silence, especially from someone you love, can be the loudest of all. The next morning, Ethan noticed Liam walking past the bus stop, past the next street, toward the old district no one visited anymore. Instinct overtook fear. Ethan grabbed his keys and followed at a distance. Liam walked into an abandoned park, rusted swings, broken benches, cold wind slicing through the tall grass. He went straight to a thick patch of bushes, knelt down, and gently placed the blue baby shoe beside a small candle. Ethan stood frozen. His son wasn't meeting friends. He wasn't sneaking cigarettes. He wasn't doing anything Ethan feared. He was grieving. That night, back home, Ethan didn't accuse him, didn't shout, didn't demand answers. He simply sat beside Liam on the couch and said, with a calm, trembling voice, "I saw you today." Liam didn't deny it. A single tear slid down his cheek. Ethan exhaled. "Son, talk to me." And slowly, the truth began to pour out. It started months ago. One cold afternoon, Liam took a shortcut through that same park. Behind some bushes was a small tent. Inside were a young woman, maybe 19, and her baby girl. The woman's name was Maya. She apologized for being in the way, for taking up space, for existing. She looked scared, exhausted, alone. So Liam gave her his lunch, and then his next day's lunch, and then the next. He brought baby food when he could, a blanket once. They talked a little each day. Maya always thanked him, saying no one ever acted like she belonged. Then one night, a storm hit the city. The creek overflowed. The tent collapsed. The next morning, when Liam returned, Maya and the baby were gone. The only thing left was the little blue shoe caught against a sewer grate. "I didn't know what to do," Liam whispered. "I thought maybe if I put it where she lived, she'd come back for it. I didn't want them to feel forgotten." Ethan felt something inside him break open. He realized he had been so overwhelmed with surviving that he hadn't noticed the young man his son was becoming. A young man with a heart wide enough to carry strangers. "Son," Ethan said, voice cracking, "I am so proud of you." Liam looked up, surprised. You are." "I thought something was wrong. But the truth is, something is right." For the first time in years, Ethan truly saw his son, not as the boy he worried about losing, but as someone growing kinder than the world around him. The next day, father and son began searching for Maya and her baby. They visited shelters, churches, clinics, anywhere that might help. Some people recognized the description, some didn't. Days passed, weeks passed, but they kept going, side by side. At a family services center, a shelter worker froze when Liam showed her the baby shoe. "I've seen this," she said quietly. "Come with me." She guided them to a small room, and there she was, Maya holding her baby girl. Clean clothes, safe room, warm light. The fear gone from her eyes. When she saw Liam, she gasped. Tears filled her eyes. Liam held out the tiny shoe. Maya covered her mouth, overwhelmed. "I thought no one cared," she whispered. "I thought we were invisible." "You're not invisible," Ethan said gently. "Not to my son, and now, not to me." Maya hugged Liam, holding him with the gratefulness of someone who had finally been seen. From that day forward, Ethan and Liam visited the shelter together. They brought blankets, diapers, food, books, anything they could spare. Liam played with the children. Ethan repaired shelves and painted walls, and the tiny baby shoe. It now sits on a small shelf in their apartment, beside a framed photo of Maya and her daughter, both smiling. Whenever life gets heavy, Ethan looks at that little shoe and remembers, kindness doesn't always come in grand gestures. Sometimes it fits in the palm of your hand. Sometimes it wears faded blue fabric with a tiny stitched star. Sometimes it's carried quietly in the backpack of a boy who believes no good deed is too small. And so, Ethan learned something he will never forget. He didn't just find a baby shoe. He found the young man his son was becoming, a boy who taught him that compassion is always worth carrying. If this story touched your heart, consider subscribing to The Day Everything Changed. Your support helps us bring more stories of kindness, hope, and the small moments that change a life forever. Thank you for listening, and remember, sometimes the smallest act of kindness becomes the biggest turning point.